So once the application is received, we are going to review all of those applications for accuracy and completeness. So when you come into the office, we're going to sit down with you. We're going to go through those checklists that you've already gone through. We're going to go through your entire lease application, make sure everything's adequately described, all the photos are there, it's adequately notarized there, and at that point we'll accept your lease application fee, your staking map, and all that. At that point we have accepted your application. We have not approved your application. So at that point we are going to sit down with between the sales team and the project development team, and we're going to go through that lease application, and we're going to make sure that it meets all the programmatic requirements. We're going to sit down as a team, get an extra set of eyes on it, make sure that everything's everything's where it should be, everything is complete. Once we go through that review process, we may have some questions from you. We may ask you for additional information, additional photographs. We may ask you to come in and work with us on this application a bit. Through this process, or once we start mapping the parcel, we are going to put it up on the website to where you can actually go to the website over here, select the specific area that you're going on, and you can pull up the updated staking map, and that'll have your parcel drawn on there, generally in red with that little leader line with your ADL number on there. A little note about the ADL number, that is going to be assigned once you turn in your lease application. That's going to carry forward all the way through the leasing process. If you go into a contract, it carries forward through the contract process all the way up until you go into patent. It'll still be around, and that's how you can actually look on our website about that parcel. So that will maintain in the land status information in perpetuity. All right, so a couple of conditions during the leasing period. So while you are under lease, a condition of the lease is that you have to maintain those brush and flag lines, the corner posts. You have to maintain that parcel boundary. So, plan on going out there during that lease period to maybe refresh your flagging, make sure your corner posts are still upright. As you clear stuff out, trees are going to grow up in there, just keep that up and active. So one purpose of which is to make sure that the surveyor can adequately locate your parcel, and additionally other people in the field. Under lease, at this point, it goes from being general state land to you having a lease interest in this parcel. At this point, you have the sole and exclusive right to use that piece of property. You can now go onto that property and you can start clearing it. You can start constructing a cabin. We do have some specific conditions on the lease such that you may not remove resources from the site. So you can, while you're under lease, you can cut down the trees. You can start constructing a cabin. You can be milling that timber. You cannot sell it or remove it from the property. Likewise, for gravel resources, whatever you can, if you wanted to dig up gravel and use it on your own property, from your property and use it on your property, you can do so. You just cannot remove that or sell that from your property. While under lease, you may not use it for a full-time residence or for any commercial purposes. Once you go into contract, so let me rephrase that. At the end of the lease period, you have the opportunity to purchase it, which we'll cover a little bit here, but so you can purchase it outright or you can go into contract. While you're on the contract, the restriction with regards to the full-time residency and commercial purposes go away. So you can begin using it for there. However, you still may not remove any of the resources from the property until such time as you have patent to that. So during the leasing period here, so there's you'll be making quarterly payments on this parcel. So there's going to be a $100 annual lease fee, which is going to be broken up. So it's $100 annually, so $300 total over the period of the 3 years of that lease, broken up into $25 quarterly payments. Additionally, you'll be paying a survey deposit on there, which is going to be up to about $6,000, $6,500 for some of your larger, more remote parcels. It's prorated by acreage and specific to each staking area. The lessee will also be paying an appraisal deposit of $500 during that leasing period to pay for the appraisal cost. So when we receive all the lease applications, everybody gets approved for lease all at the same time. Everybody within that individual staking area all goes out to contract at the same time. Generically speaking, we're going to go out to, we'll issue requests for proposals for each staking area, so requesting proposals for a survey contract. And we will contract with the surveyor to survey all the parcels within that staking area. Generically speaking, the ones that are usually the most parcels, the most urban, so to speak, which generally have the most parcels, will go out first. So those areas like Catalina will probably be one of the first ones. I'm expecting that probably Snake Lake is going to have whatever a good number of parcels. Dillinger River, Half Cabin Lake, and East Fork Pass probably. Depending on the number of parcels, they may go out to survey a little bit later than some of the other ones. But everybody within that area goes out all at the same time. So we're going to contract with the professional land surveyor. And they're going to be going out there. They're going to set the monuments for all those parcels. and they're going to produce a survey plat. First off, they're going to produce a monumentation plan. So they're going to go out there, do all the field work associated with that, and they're going to come back to us and they're going to say that this is, so this parcel here, whatever it is. So when we adjudicate the parcel, we're going to provide the surveyor with survey instructions, and we're going to say that, all right, survey this parcel as staked. This parcel, confirm that it is 300 feet from this, from this water body pursuant to the setback, or that this is abutting this, or it's within the staking instructions or staking requirements. So we might notify them of a few issues, right? And we'll notify you about these things as well. But when they come back, when they go out in the field, they're going to look at something. They're going to say, oh, well, this parcel says that it's 20 acres. It's actually 25 acres in the field, so we need to adjust that parcel. If we have to adjust a parcel for size in excess of 10%, or 10% or more, we are required to contact you. And regardless of if it is 10%, whatever or not, we're going to be in contact with you anyway. During the lease adjudication process, when we're looking at all your individual lease applications, we're going to have a pretty good idea that this may conform here, it may not, maybe a little small, maybe a little bit large, maybe too close to this or too far away. And we're going to contact you about that in advance, and we're going to be working with you. And we're probably going to be asking you that if we have to adjust this parcel, how would you like it adjusted? Would you like to move this corner, whatever? A lot of that is where that preferred building site comes in, anyway, in that building site post. So the surveyor is going to be looking at this with that information to determine that, okay, this is the best way to modify this, according to that. So when when the surveyor is out in the field, we generally have a very short time frame. So we're going to be in contact with you. We're going to say that the surveyor is out in the field. They found this. This is how they're proposing to do that. Are you okay with that? And we're asking for as timely a response as you can provide, because we need to get that information out to the surveyor, because they're out there in the field surveying right then and there. So once the work is complete, the surveyor will produce a plat. The plat will contain all the information about your property boundaries, any easements, reservations, building setbacks, any of that information. It's going to have the acreage of your parcel. It's going to have all the dimensions of your parcel. It's going to describe it very, very accurately. At that point, the preliminary plat, or excuse me, the final plat, will come out. We'll ship them out to the local offices here. We're going to ask you to come in and review that plat and subsequently sign that plat. We are going to ask you to do so in a timely manner, because we have to get everybody's signature on that plat before we can record it. And we have to get that plat signed and recorded before we can move to the appraisal process and subsequently move on to the opportunity to purchase the property. So when this plat comes out, you have the opportunity to come in, review this, sign this, and we're going to ask that you do so in a timely manner.
Sorry.
No problem. All right, so without going into these in detail, your supplemental staking instructions, the staking instructions, and the brochure will have information about all these. In short, every parcel is going to have a 30-foot easement along all interior boundaries. You're going to have a 50-foot easement either side of section lines there. There's a 100-foot building setback from any public or navigable water bodies. There's going to be a 60-foot easement along any trail that is active and in use at the time of staking. Additionally, any trails that are out there that contain an ADL number or a RST number are going to have an easement from the center line of that trail pursuant to that easement. And of special note, all of these easements are going to apply both at the time of the lease as well as carried forward all the way through contract and into patent. And those easements and reservations are going to be contained on the plat. Of specific note, and this goes back to building, while you're under lease, you can start building a parcel within there. However, we are going to recommend that you build towards the interior of your parcel, and more specifically that you keep it mobile. If we have to adjust the parcel boundaries, or if you've inadequately located that structure, you're going to have to move it. We cannot convey you that property until such a time as that there are no encumbrances on those easements or reservations. So keep that in mind. Make sure that it is mobile and out and more towards the interior, decidedly outside of any of those easements. They're going to be subject to it. Likewise, when we're adjudicating your application, we're going to let you know what easements it's going to be subject to as well. So there shouldn't be any surprise. So once we get to the survey, you're going to get a copy to review. You have to come in, sign it, and then once the plat, everybody has signed the plat has been recorded, then we can move on to the appraisal of the property. So the base appraisal for each one of these areas has already been completed. You have base appraisal information both in the brochure and in your supplemental staking instructions. And we'll go over a little bit about how this works. The Remote Recreational Cabin Sites and the base appraisal process fact sheet has more specific information on how this works. So, in short, the entire area has been appraised based on hypothetical parcels and an evaluation of comparable parcels in the area. So the appraisal for the area has already been completed. Now, this estimates the value of parcels hypothetical based on a key parcel A, which are generally those that are right up along a river, right up along a floodplain accessible lake or a trail or something like that. Then it's going to evaluate the amenities of the entirety of the entire area. So this evaluates the value of an average parcel along those major access routes effectively, or the average interior parcel that is generally 330 feet or 660 feet removed from that, so second tier. Generically speaking, that's one in which it's allowable space for another parcel to be staked between that lake or between that river and the and the parcel that you staked. So it gives a hypothetical value of it compared to the character. So then we're going to go and we're going to compare your parcel based on that survey, the easements, the restrictions, the amenities of your parcel. Compare that to the base appraisal. That is all going to be done in-house, and the value of the parcel is going to be based on the date of entry, which, as noted before, that's the date that lease application goes out. So it's going to be the same for all of them. It's going to be set at that base appraisal that's already been completed, but with adjustments for any changes in market value since the date of entry. So between when the appraisal was done a year or 2 years ago, and then basically the date that your lease comes out. If there's been any market changes in that time, then that's going to be accounted for in that. So when you get your purchase package, so again, the parcel's been surveyed, you come in, sign the plat, the plat's been recorded, we've done our in-house appraisal. The purchase packet will be issued to everybody within that area, within that staking area for all at the same time. And so you will get in there a rundown on your individual the appraisal for your specific parcel. So this is going to be, again, evaluating your parcel based on the conditions of that base appraisal. So although you probably can't see the font in here too much, this evaluates, in this particular example, this is a key parcel A. So the key parcel A that they're evaluating off of is a 5-acre parcel. The key parcel A 5-acre parcel has access via ATV, snow machine, or fly-in access. And it has building site, easements, and amenity that are all typical of the area, right? The parcel being evaluated is 8.64 acres. So there's a downward adjustment for the acreage, because the more acreage you have, the lower the value per acre on that. So in this particular case, it is a 0.83 adjustment. So it's 83% of a 5-acre parcel, in a way, effectively, 83% per acre of that. So it's going to be a downward adjustment. So they take all these adjustments and they add them up. And then this one turns out to $2,800 an acre, effectively. So, so the way this works, effectively, they're going to take your parcel, look at it based on the amenities, the conditions of the site. If you stake a parcel that has got fantastic views, great soils, great access, something like that, any one of those may bump it up by 10%. On the upper end, maybe 20%. It's very rare, I think, that on any of these that I've seen, 20%. Likewise, if you stake a piece of property that's low-lying, it's swampy, it's black spruce, it's out in the middle of nowhere, relatively impossible to get to, and anything, I mean, you build basically a 4-story structure, and in 2 years you've got 3 basements. Something like that is probably, it's going to be about, maybe 10% cheaper, 20% cheaper. So the point being is, I would review this information that you have in your supplemental staking instructions and in the brochure, and evaluate what it is that's important to you. Find something that's within your budget, and get a piece of property that's going to be valuable to you. You're not saving yourself much at all by staking a low-quality parcel just to get more acreage. So use this to kind of determine what it is ultimately that you're looking for. So you'll receive a copy of this in your purchase packet, at which point you have the opportunity to purchase your parcel. So you can either purchase the parcel outright, so you can pay it off in its entirety, or you can enter into contract with the state to finance the parcel. So what happens? So the way this works is the principal amount. If you're going to contract for the purchase of the parcel, The terms of the contract are going to be dependent upon the principal amount of that. So if it's $2,000 or less, you have to pay it outright. If it's, I believe, $2,000 to $10,000, it can be up to 5 years, and anything that there's 10 years, and then anything over $20,000, you can have up to 20 years to pay it off. The interest rate is specifically, the interest rate is 3% above the prime interest rate published in the Wall Street Journal on the first day of the month in which the contract is written. In short, it's been 6.25% for the last 5 years, 6 years, something like that, but it's going to be 3% above the prime interest rate whenever you purchase a parcel, or the month that parcel is purchased. So a couple things to keep in mind with this specifically. When you're selecting the value of the parcel, the state is required to be reimbursed for the development costs of your parcel. So that includes the survey and the appraisal and such. By regulation, we have to receive either the fair market value of the parcel or $1,000 over the survey cost. Although it's very unlikely that any of the situations are going to arise with the areas that we have here, save for maybe a very small parcel in Half Cabin Lake because the cost of survey is higher. But if you stake a small, low-value parcel in Half Cabin Lake, it may cost $6,000. Okay, it may cost $5,000 to survey it. The parcel may only be worth $5,000. You're going to have to pay $6,000. So it's $1,000 over the survey cost. So just check that out before you go out and purchase, because there's no point in getting something there, buying something that's going to be less than it's actually worth. So once you purchase the parcel, you get title, fee simple for the surface estate. The state of Alaska is constitutionally prohibited from disposing of the mineral rights, to include oil and gas. So it's for the surface estate only, and it's fee simple. We don't have any of the prove-up requirements as noted, so you don't have to construct a cabin, occupy it, anything like that. And we don't maintain any post-patent restrictions other than those with regards to the easements and reservations as noted previously. Some of these are going to be in a organized borough, which they exercise either taxation authority and or zoning authority, in which case you are required to pay taxes on it while both under lease and under contract. If it's in an organized borough, at some point they might exercise the zoning authority, though I don't believe that there's any that are currently doing that for the areas that we have. So a breakdown on this, there's some great information in the brochure if you want to evaluate what you'd like to be paying, plus there's some great amortization schedules online that you can kind of figure out what your quarterly payment under contract might be. But in short, lease fee of $100 per year, annually prorated or broken out into quarterly payments. Survey deposit up to about $6,000 to $6,500, and a $500 appraisal. It's going to be effectively up to a little over $7,000 over a 3-year period for the lease. Once the lease is completed, it's surveyed, it's appraised, you have the opportunity to purchase it. It's going to be set at the fair market value minus whatever you've already paid in towards your survey deposit down here specific to each area. And that information is located in your staking packet. So at that point, you have the opportunity to purchase it, and you can enter into a contract, or you can pay it off with the state.